Hey everyone, it's Chris here, and today I'm going to be talking about solo hiking versus group hiking. One of the great things about hiking is that it's an activity that you can do either with other people or on your own. Everyone will have a preference for whether they prefer one over the other or like both equally. For me personally, I love doing both. I really enjoy sharing a hiking experience with other people, but equally love spending time on my own out on trails. Because I enjoy doing both types of hiking, I'm going to talk here about the things that I like about solo hiking and the things that I like about hiking in groups. Depending on the type of person you are, you may prefer doing one over the other, or like me, equally prefer both types of hiking. If you're just getting into hiking, hopefully this video may give you some ideas about the type of things you can expect from doing solo hikes versus hiking with other people. So let's get into it. So let me first talk about solo hiking. I absolutely love hiking on my own. I've always been a person who is very comfortable in my own company, and I also love getting out in nature. For me, going out on a hike by myself feels like the ultimate escape from everything, where I can just go out and enjoy the peace and beauty of nature and have time to think away from the busyness and noise of everyday life. A large proportion of day hikes that I do are solo hikes. These are always pretty easy to arrange because you're not relying on having plans line up with a hiking partner or a group on a particular day or on a weekend, and it's easy just to get some stuff together and take off for the day. For overnight or multi-day hikes, I still do a greater proportion of these with either one other person or a small group, but I am starting to do more solo hikes, and I've definitely got more plans to do solo hikes of longer distances in future. So what are the things that I really enjoy about solo hiking? The first thing, as I mentioned before, is just the chance to get out into nature and having a chance to relax and think. I find that I'm a lot more attuned to things that are happening around me in nature when I'm on my own. And I tend to see and hear things that I may otherwise miss if I'm in a conversation with someone else while out on a hike. So I find I'm a lot more immersed in nature when I'm out hiking on my own and fully absorbing the experience of everything that's happening around me. The next thing I love about solo hiking is flexibility. You can make your own schedule and hike in the way you want to, and you have pretty much total freedom over the way that you want to do your hike. Because I do a lot of filming and photography on hikes, I tend to take longer to do a hike, and that's because I'm usually stopping to set up a shot or capturing some great footage and photos that I can use for my videos. When I'm solo, I don't need to be worried about others in my group and holding them up with all of the stopping that I'm doing during a hike to do all of that filming and photography. The third thing I love about solo hiking is just the challenge of it. I love the additional challenge of having to be completely self-sufficient and relying on my own skills and resourcefulness to complete a hike. This includes things like navigation on the trail and dealing with situations that may come up where things don't go to plan, with things like potentially unexpected inclement weather, for example. I don't think everything should be easy, and it's often those tough situations that you may be in that you can look back on fondly and be proud of yourself on how you dealt with it at the time and got through it. And the fourth thing I enjoy about solo hiking, which may sound a bit funny, is meeting other people. A common misconception about hiking on your own is that you're going to be out there completely alone and you're never going to see another soul. And to be honest, sometimes that's exactly what I'm wanting. That may be true some of the time, depending on the trail that you're doing, but more often than not, you're probably going to come across at least one other hiker when you're out on a trail. I love meeting and chatting to other people on the trail, and when I'm out hiking solo, I find that I'm more likely to strike up a conversation and meet new people when I'm on my own than I would if I was in my own group. And this was exactly the experience that I had when I did the overland track. So I actually started that hike with another friend of mine. Now you've probably seen in other videos, if you've watched those, that she actually had to turn around and finish that hike early after the first day. So it went from being a group hike of 2 people to me being solo on that hike. Now, as it turned out, it was a great experience for me anyway, because I was actually on my own essentially, but because there were other hikers on the trail and it was pretty conducive to meeting other people because of the way that you have huts on that hike, I actually met some other people and chatted to them for the rest of the trip. And as it's turned out, I've stayed in touch with a couple of the people that I met on that hike, and we've since done other hikes together as well. So hiking solo is also a great way to meet new people as well. There are obviously other considerations if you're going to be doing solo hiking, and these include ensuring that you're going to be completely prepared to be fully self-sufficient with all of your gear, food and skills, and making sure that you tell someone about your itinerary and plans for your hike so that if something were to go wrong, they know where to send help to. And that should be done on every hike regardless of whether you're doing a solo hike or if you're hiking in a group. That's just good safety practice for hikes. If you've never been out solo hiking and find that you may sometimes decide not to go out because your plans to go don't line up with when other people are available, don't let that stop you. Just go ahead and get out there and try it out. You can maybe just start out with trying out a solo day hike, and that could even just be a short day hike. And then you can gradually just build up from there. So try out your first overnight hike on your own, and then you can start to build up to multi-day hikes and even longer distance hikes. Now to talk about group hiking. I equally love heading out for hikes with other people. And here's some of the reasons that I really enjoy group hiking as well. The first thing is just being able to share the experience with other people. So that's actually obviously the hike itself and having that experience together, and also just in the planning of the hike as well. I find that's just equally as enjoyable in just sharing ideas with others about how to plan for a particular hike. And just that whole experience of doing all of that together is a lot of fun. And once the hike's actually completed, it's a great thing to be able to look back on with the person or the group of people that you did that hike with, and just to be able to relive that experience together. My personal preference for group hikes is generally to do that in either a group of 2, so myself and one other person, or just a smaller group as well. The most number of people I've had in a group hike over the last few years was with 5 people, and I found that was still a really good size. I just find that if the group starts getting too big, it's not really for me. I just prefer that smaller group dynamic that you have. The second thing I love about group hiking is the chance to get to know people in your group really well. I just find that when you're out on a trail and you're sharing that experience out in nature, you tend to get into conversations that you wouldn't necessarily have around a dinner table or at a barbecue or something, and you really kind of get to know people very well. For example, one of the guys that I hike with, Clarky, is a friend that I've had for a very long time, and he's part of a larger group of friends that I went to high school with. But we hadn't necessarily spent much time together on our own. But what I've found in going out and doing hikes with him is that I've just been able to get to know him a lot better than I would necessarily when we're just all in a larger group, and found that we actually share quite a few of the same values, and as a result we have some really interesting conversations when we're out on hikes. So I really enjoy that part of it, just getting to know the people that you're hiking with really well and having some really interesting conversations when you're out there that you may not have when you're in other environments. The third thing I enjoy about group hiking is just the sharing of the energy and the passion that you have as hikers. Generally, you're probably going to have similar interests, at least in terms of hiking, and you just get a real sense of how much each person in the group is enjoying it when you know that they are just right into hiking as well. And that just gives you a real buzz just in terms of how you're enjoying the experience of it all, and knowing that the people that you're with are getting the same kind of enjoyment out of that as well. That's just a really good part of doing group hiking. The next thing I really like about group hiking is just that comfort that you have in being able to lean on others for support if you need it, or if they need some support as well. If you're out on a longer multi-day hike, for example, it could be someone is just having a really rough day, or it could be you having a rough day, and just having the support of others there to kind of get you through that rough day is just a real help. And also, obviously, if something happens where someone may get injured, you've got the support of other people in your group to help you out, and you can help others out if they're in that situation. And the final thing I like about group hiking is the ability to share ideas and information about pretty much everything related to hiking. So that could be things like gear, looking at what other people have, and potentially you then considering doing something similar with your own gear setup. It could be tips and tricks that other people have that you may not have thought of. And it could be even ideas about other hikes that others in your group have done, and that may inspire you to go and try out doing that hike in the future as well. Group hiking is definitely a more natural starting point for people who are just starting to get into hiking. And it's a great way to learn about it by having others in your group who may be regular or seasoned hikers, and just understanding the experiences that they've had on hikes, and just generally learning what hiking is all about. Hiking in a group really gives you that good introduction to hiking and being able to learn from others that you're out on the trail with. The hiking community is a very supportive and inclusive one, and it's part of what I love about the whole experience of hiking. So there you have it. There's my view on all of the things that I think are great about solo hiking and group hiking. What about you? Do you prefer to go out on solo hikes or group hikes, or perhaps you enjoy doing both equally like I do? Leave a comment down below. If you got anything out of this video, hit the like button. If you haven't had a chance to subscribe to my channel yet, hit the subscribe button. And if you want to be notified of any other videos as they come out on my channel, hit the bell symbol as well. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you out on the trail next time.